It has been 49 years since Voyager was launched and began its journey through space. Next year, in 2027, it will finally mark the 50th anniversary of its launch. Even now, Voyager continues to travel onward, moving farther away from Earth. In the distant future, decades or even centuries from now, where will Voyager be? Will it eventually leave even the Milky Way and head toward the edge of the universe? Let us follow Voyager's future all the way 10 billion years ahead. Voyager refers to two spacecraft launched by NASA in 1977. On August 20th, 1977, Voyager 2 was launched first. Two weeks later, on September 5th, Voyager 1 was also launched. The year 1977 was the perfect time for planetary exploration. The reason was the alignment of the planets. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune were positioned in a way that allowed for efficient gravity assists. This made it possible to use the gravitational pull of the planets to accelerate the spacecraft, allowing them to observe multiple planets with minimal fuel and travel time. This opportunity occurs only about once every 175 years. The two spacecraft left Earth and began their journey through space. On December 1977, about 3 months after launch, Voyager 1, which had departed later, overtook Voyager 2. In March 1979, Voyager 1 passed by Jupiter. This is an image of Jupiter taken during that flyby. Here is another image taken by Voyager 1, showing Jupiter's great red spot. On November 1980, Voyager 1 passed Saturn. This image shows Saturn along with two of its moons, Tethys and Dione, photographed by Voyager 1. It also captured detailed images clearly revealing the structure of Saturn's rings. After completing its exploration of Saturn, Voyager 1 changed its trajectory toward the outer regions of the solar system. Voyager 2, which had been overtaken by Voyager 1, continued on its journey and passed both Jupiter and Saturn. On January 1986, it approached Uranus. It captured images of Uranus and several of its moons. On August 1989, it approached Neptune. The close-up images of Uranus and Neptune taken by Voyager 2 remain the only such images ever obtained. On August 2012, Voyager 1 reached the heliopause, the boundary between the solar wind and interstellar space, and exited the heliosphere. About 6 years later, on November 2018, Voyager 2 also left the heliosphere. Both spacecraft are still traveling through space today. Let us look at their current positions. Voyager 1 is now about 25.1 billion kilometers from Earth. This distance is 168 times the distance between the Earth and the Sun, or 168 AU. It is the most distant human-made object from Earth. It is traveling at 17 kilometers per second in the direction of the constellation of Ficus. Voyager 2 is about 20.9 billion kilometers from Earth at a distance of 140 AU. It is moving at 15.4 kilometers per second toward the direction of Sagittarius and the constellation Pavo. Communication with both Voyager spacecraft is still possible. Some of their scientific instruments are still operating and continue to send data back to us. Their power source is a nuclear battery. It uses the heat produced by the radioactive decay of plutonium-238. However, the power output gradually decreases each year. For this reason, NASA has been shutting down instruments step by step to conserve electricity. This is one of the last photographs taken by Voyager 2. It was captured from a distance of about 4.5 billion kilometers from Earth. Voyager 1 took a similar photograph from about 6 billion kilometers away, where Earth appears as a faint blue dot. Because of its appearance, it is known as the pale blue dot. Thanks to power-saving measures, Voyager is expected to maintain communication and operate at least one scientific instrument until the 2030s. Now, let us look at Voyager in the distant future. Both Voyager spacecraft will eventually pass near stars other than the Sun. Voyager 1 is traveling toward the constellation Ophiuchus. The first star it will approach is a red dwarf called Gliese 445. About 40,000 years from now, it will pass within a distance of about 1.6 light-years before continuing onward. Voyager 2 is traveling toward the direction of the constellation Pavo. The star it will approach is another red dwarf called Ross 248. About 42,000 years from now, it will come within about 1.7 light-years before continuing farther into space. If Voyager continues traveling like this, will it eventually leave the galaxy? The solar system lies within the disk of the Milky Way galaxy. Because of this, we usually observe the Milky Way from inside it. Voyager 1 is traveling at an angle of about 35 degrees relative to the galactic plane. This is actually an ideal angle for leaving the galaxy. However, in reality, escaping the galaxy is almost impossible. The reason is that its speed is far too low. For example, when a rocket leaves Earth, it must accelerate to escape Earth's gravity. In the same way, for Voyager to escape the Milky Way, it would need to accelerate to about 600 kilometers per second. Voyager 1 travels at about 17 kilometers per second. Even when considering the rotational speed of the galaxy, the total is only about 230 kilometers per second. This is nowhere near enough speed to escape. In other words, Voyager, just like us, is trapped within the enormous and deep gravitational well of the Milky Way. Captured by the gravity of the Milky Way, the two Voyager spacecraft will continue drifting within the galaxy. Since Voyager left the solar system at about 17 kilometers per second, it orbits the galaxy slightly faster than the solar system. If we calculate this motion, Voyager would eventually lap the Sun after roughly 10 to 25 billion years. In theory, this means Voyager could return to the region of the solar system. However, the probability of that happening is almost zero. The reason is the motion of the stars. It might seem as though the solar system and nearby stars move together around the galaxy. In reality, the motion of stars is chaotic. Each star travels in a different direction and at a different speed. Stars within the galaxy move far more randomly than we might imagine, and after one orbit, they do not return to the same positions. As a result, even if Voyager returns to the same location, the solar system will likely have moved elsewhere. Although we have already traveled far into the future, 10 to 25 billion years ahead, there is a major event that will occur much sooner. This is the merger between the Milky Way galaxy and the Andromeda galaxy. About 4.5 billion years from now, the Milky Way and Andromeda will approach each other and repeatedly collide and separate. Even while these galaxies are colliding, Voyager will continue traveling. With roughly a 50% probability, the merger will eventually be completed and form a new galaxy known as Milkomeda. During the chaos of the collision, Voyager's trajectory could be disturbed. It might even be ejected from the Milkomeda galaxy. However, the probability is small, so it will most likely remain within the galaxy. At that point, Voyager will no longer be an explorer of the Milky Way. Instead, it will become an explorer of the Milkomeda galaxy. After surviving the great events of galactic collision, Voyager continues its journey. Meanwhile, a dramatic change will occur in the Sun. About 5 billion years from now, the Sun will run out of hydrogen fuel and its outer layers will expand, turning it into a red giant. About 7.5 billion years from now, Mercury and Venus will be engulfed, and Earth will become a scorching world. About 8 billion years from now, the Sun will shed its outer layers and form a planetary nebula. About 9 billion years from now, the remaining core of the Sun will become exposed and turn into a white dwarf composed mainly of carbon and oxygen. Even if Voyager somehow survives the galactic collision and miraculously returns to the region of the Sun after falling behind in its orbit, it may not even recognize the Sun anymore once it has become a white dwarf. The two Voyager spacecraft continued their journey after leaving the solar system and traveling through the Milky Way. In the near future, communication with them is expected to end no later than around 2036. Having spent the great events of galactic collision and the death of the Sun far outside the solar system, will Voyager continue its lonely journey forever?